we're going to face the reality of what it's like to live without God.
Yeah.
But we live in deception sometimes. Come on. He lost sight. Listen. But Uriah, say Uriah. Uriah had the heart of God. Uriah had the heart of his commander. He said, go sleep with your wife. He said, no, sir. My men are on the battlefield. You should know. You train me. I will not, even though it's legal right now, even though my king's asking me to go. But just because it seems right, it looks right, and people say it's right, doesn't mean it's for me.
Come on.
And he decided, if I have to sleep on this doorstep, I will sleep on this doorstep, and I'm going to let God deal with me, but I will not go and lay with my wife. You're going to have to, whatever you can offer me, whatever. And it got him drunk, he said. And he still wouldn't go. Yeah, you know what God was showing King David, brother Mario? He was showing him who he used to be when he was humble. The battle was on his heart. A real Christian has a battle on his mind all the time. Turn to someone and say all the time. Because you better know your enemy. And you better know his tactics. Because if you don't, the biggest weapon against the enemy today, the biggest weapon against the church today for the enemy is that the people don't think that he exists.
That's right.
And you don't know that he's attacking you until everything is gone.
Preach it. That's
right.
Come on, somebody.
Amen.
Amen.
Deception. Don't do that. Don't listen to pastor. What are you talking about? He don't know what he's talking about. Go up. He don't know. You're called, but you're called to live a good life and to be happy. Happiness is a product of living in the presence of God, because joy takes over, and then the presence of God starts to fix things, and then the things that were broken starts to fix things, and then God starts to motivate people, and they rise up in leadership, and a church is birthed, and Bible studies birthed, and the power of God is revealed in a neighborhood. Why? Because one person said, I'm going to take a stand for what's right.
Amen.
Come on, somebody.
That's right.
I'm going to take a stand. I'm going to take a stand. Turn to someone and say, take a stand.
Take a stand.
So go up. Let's go real quick to Luke chapter 19 and verse 19. Now, for sake of time, let me paraphrase. Psalms 51 talks about, says, my God, restore the what? Joy of my salvation. Renew a right spirit within me. Please don't take your spirit from me. Do you know what happened with King David? What happens with us? He started looking at the physical gauge instead of the spiritual gauge. He stopped seeing his need for God because he had it all. And he was trusting in the arm of flesh. And God allowed him, through death and destruction and calamity, listen to me, to be brought down low and through pain. And now he started to trust in the arm of God.
Yeah.
Something happens, Brother Ollie, when we start trusting in the arm of God, and we take our confidence and our eyes off of the arm of flesh.
Yeah.
So I looked at my paperwork, and you know what God said? Go back in the room. And I thought he was going to tell me to clean it. I was going to say, Virgie, clean it. But I went back into my room and I looked at the paperwork and I saw the mess. And you know what God said? I want you to assess your mess. Turn to somebody and say, assess your mess.
Assess your mess.
Turn to somebody else and say, assess your mess. I want you to assess your mess. And I said, what do you mean assess my mess? Look at it. I looked at it. God, this is just getting me more mad. And you know what God said? Maybe those papers on that desk are a man that didn't have enough favor, grace, or education or strength to start a business, but God favored him, and his business is growing faster, come on, than he can hold it together. He needs some organization in his life, but maybe those papers represent a dad that cares. Maybe those papers represent a man that doesn't let the pillow dictate, but gets up every morning with his family in mind and is going to do something so that the hand of God can move over his family. Maybe those papers papers, what they really say, the message they're sending is that there's a God and he pours favor on you. And when he pours favor on you, nobody can stop it. Not even the devil, and everything he tries can stop God's blessing over your life. Come on, somebody. Maybe that mess is God's hand over your life. Because you know how many people would love to have those papers of contracts of jobs that you've done? Come on. And then my daughter Savannah, I love her. Man, that's all I had to say about that. Life is like a box of chocolate. No, just kidding. That's right. So my daughter Savannah, she's just, she's at that stage, and I've been getting upset. It's like, And you know what my wife said? My wife said, "You're going to miss her when she's gone." And I started thinking, well, I didn't miss Crystal. No, I'm just kidding. That's the Lord. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Father, let us pray. I'm just kidding. No. So you're going to miss her when she's gone. And you're going to give anything for her to bug you, to fall asleep on your bed, and then wake her up when she's asleep because she can't fall asleep in your room. There was a pastor that said that he drove up to his house, and his grandchildren would leave bikes all over the place and just trash everything. He couldn't pull his car into the garage, and he was mad, and he was about to lose his joy. And he said that the Lord spoke to him and said, "You know how many people would love to have children that are riding bikes in their driveway to do goofy, crazy things and need them, especially in times of trial, and love them. Only a child can love them. Shut up and get out your car and move the bikes." It's getting quiet in this church. See, King David lost sight of reality. And we lose sight of what's important. We lose sight of reality. We think, and it's the enemy's job to deceive. But we need to go up. Luke 19 and verse 19. Let's put it up there real quick. Luke 19. It says, "Well done." Luke, what did I say? Luke 19 and 9. Is that 19? Yes, it is 19, isn't it? No, forgive me. Luke chapter 19 and verse, forgive me. Luke 19 and verse 2. Let's go to verse 1. Verse 1. A typo. Jesus entered Jericho. Say Jericho. Jericho. And made his way through the town. Go to the next verse. We're going to pick up where we left off last week. Then there was a man named what? Zacchaeus. Now this guy, man, he was empowered by Rome to do something, and he did it well. And you know what he did? He deceived people into thinking that they were paying what they needed to pay, but in reality, he was taking more. But because they didn't know any better and they were afraid of Rome, they gave him whatever he asked for. Now let me ask you a question. As a leader, just because you can do it, should you?
No.
Let's talk about it. Just because you're in a position and you have the title and the name badge and people are looking at you, so we just do what we want. Just because you're mom and dad. Does that give us the right? See, Uriah knew that David, his king, said, "Go home." But Uriah said, "I have not been called by God, but to listen to my leader. But right now, the voice of God is louder than yours, David. I have to stay here."
That's right.
And he lost his life for doing what's right.
That's right.
But I'm going to tell you something, church. Unless we lose our life, we truly can't gain it in Christ Jesus.
That's right. Come on. Yeah.
So Zacchaeus, he was a chief tax collector in the region. Now, real quick paraphrasing, he had become very rich. Say very rich. He didn't need nothing. And I'm going to paraphrase. The Bible said Jesus was coming through the town. Zacchaeus had issues in his heart that money couldn't fix, that friends couldn't fix. How many know when you got money, you got friends all over the place? Amen. Everybody likes you. Oh, those are nice shoes, man. You know they're ugly, but still, oh, they're nice. Amen. Right? Pastor Andy had money. We're like, oh yeah, you crease your pants. That's how it's, you know, you find something good because you're trying to get something, right? So this man had friends, but they were false friends. But do you know this man had so much money, he could have told somebody, hey, Jesus is coming. Go up that tree real quick and tell me when he's here. And he could have had a couple like Brother Mario and Brother Ollie and Pastor Andy standing with Pastor Andy, and then parted the crowd like the Red Sea. And he could have made his way into Jesus. He could have used his authority, Pastor Andy. And do you know what the people would have done?
Listen.
They would have listened and they would have crowded. They would have just got out the way. But this man was tired of life the way he was living it. And you know what he did? He heard Jesus was coming and he went up. Turn to some and say, he went up. He went up into the presence of God. He went up. See, sometimes we're saying, God, change them. And God's saying, no, I'm not going to use them to change you. I'm going to use you to change them. You just need to come up into my presence. You just need to let yourself be broken. You need to let yourself be stripped. You need to let some stuff off that's been getting in the way.
Come on now. That's right.
You need to get rid of some attitudes. You need to get rid of some pride. You need to get rid of, some authority you thought you had. You need to get rid of some excess baggage that's only stopping you from recognizing who I really am. Because ultimately, I know one thing, Pastor Andy. I know one thing, church. You're going to do